Right guys, my name's Anthony Cummins and today we're going to be working from the book In Search of the Ninja by me. So get yourself a copy of that. It's one of my older books, but I still go through it and think, wow, okay, I'm happy with that. Right, ninja mathematics, possibly the most boring subject on the planet. But it's something that nearly everybody overlooks. I've been asked to make this video and it won't be massively in depth, but it's just to highlight to you guys the importance of ninja mathematics, ninja trigonometry, basically estimating distances and all of that. Now it was sparked off by this on page 100, which is a manual from Japan that I came across in a museum. Actually, it was very nice of them. They let me take out this manual and photograph it out of this random small museum. And this is a measurement scroll, but this shows about the shinobi ways of measurement, or how shinobi should measure things. Now the translation's there as well, if I remember. Just having a quick gander, but basically it talks about castle turrets, checking of checking of height, distances between people or understanding people, measuring the hills in the landscape, and also interestingly measuring time. So what you do is you put an incense burner stick or something like that in here, and or a fuse, and you know how far down, you know how long the fuse takes to burn, so you can count and measure the minutes. So, and that goes on your belt, and as you're walking along, you can say, oh, it's been this much time, and you put a new fuse in, and you can count the time, and you can there. So basically, ninja mathematics is actually really boring in the sense that it's just maths. But it doesn't half open up the world into ninja in a very interesting way. The only person I've ever met who ever took any interest in samurai mathematics was Andrew Thorburn of Natoryu, one of my guys basically, and he absolutely locked onto it. Distance checking, estimating heights, checking landscapes, or amount of people you could fit into a certain area. I went to an event with me and him, and I watched him. He'd been studying and studying and studying, and he was like, that many people, that many, their elevation here, and he loves that sort of stuff. So, but it was very, very, very impressive to watch, because I've obviously done it, I've gone through it, but I can't do it off the top of my head. I'd have to go away, get some paper out, and then work it out. He's done it so he can get it off the top of his head. And what you have to do is start to imagine the reality of this. So there's the boring bit done, right? Basically, ninja did maths, worked out angles for the turret, worked out distance across rivers, worked out time, and they had a lot of this, what we would consider basic mathematics now, but out in the field, in the cold, in the wind and rain, doing it there. And of course, you've got to learn this, you've got to work out distances for fire rockets and all that. So I have spoke about this before, but I've genuinely been asked to do this video again, so I want to make sure I try and answer as many questions as I can. So let's imagine shinobi. It's dark out there in the darkness. You can just see the stars in the horizon, a little bit of clouds, and you're like, where are the enemy? And you're creeping forward, and you have to work out the distance between hills. Next thing you know, you got your little apparatus out, and you've got your little calculations going on, and you're working out what's going on in the landscape. The next thing you see is like beacon fires, and you're like, what is the distance between the beacon fires, and like, what would we have to travel to maybe infiltrate or destroy the beacon fire? So you have to work out it's this many leagues away and all that. Or maybe you're at a castle. It is you are the first infiltrator, if you like, to get there and check the height of the castle, the dimensions of the castle. And what do you say? I actually struggled with this. I use trees all the time. I'll look at a tree and go, how high is that tree? First of all, am I doing it in yards? Am I doing it in meters? Am I doing it in inches? What am I doing it in? And I'm like, is it 20 meters? Is it? And I genuinely cannot, for the life of me, gauge how tall the tree is. Especially when they're quite tall, you're like, I'm just guessing. I'm not gauging. I'm not estimating. I am guessing. So you have to work out the height of a tree. Now, of course, in Ninja World, let's go back to Ninja World. This is a turret. Now, we're going back to old Japan. So we're not looking at massive castles. We're looking at small wooden fortifications, palisades on top of earth mounds. And as a shinobi, you're creeping up, and in the half moon, or in disguise during the day as a merchant, you have to look at the turret and be like, right, let's work it out. Like, again, trig, you have to work out one side, you know this bit. So you might have to be in the cover of darkness, measuring one section near the castle to estimate the other section. Or one of the greatest ones out of the Bansen Shukai is actually you get birdlime, which is a very sticky substance, and you put it onto an arrow, and in like a moonless night you go up and you, like, imagine the Japanese bow, up it goes, sticks on. We've talked about this before. A little thin line, you put a knot in the line, pull it down, take that back home with you, or back to camp or wherever you are, measure that from the knot to the arrow tip. That's the height of the turret to the base. Estimate how big beyond that it is, because of course, if you think about it, Japanese turrets, they come out, they're called Yagura, and they actually come out a lot of the time. So you've got that idea, and then what you've got to do is work out how big the ladders you need, how long it's going to take your, people to get up there. Could you climb it? Can you put ropes down it? The trajectory of fire rockets to go over it, catapults, ballista. So a shinobi's got to be working all these things out and don't forget, it's not like the castle's there and it's just no one's there and you're doing this. There's someone over there with his wooden clappers. 3 o'clock and all is well. Click, click, click. And the other guy, over there is doing dark scouting. So you've got a light scout going past and you're in the darkness. You've got to wait for the dark scout because you know that trick, and the dark scouts go past. Then you come out and then you're like measuring stuff, working out your trig, working out the dimensions and angles, the distance of the moat. Then you've got to get your little rope with knots on it and you put it in the water to measure what knot it's up to, and all of that stuff to get back to camp, to then be like, okay, fill a report out. Obviously not a printed sheet, you got your piece of paper and you're there, you're like, moat this long, draw the plan of the castle, height, trajectory needed, ladder length needed, ballista distance needed, because you know how far the ballistas went. And they did have stuff like that in old Japan, basically rock slingers, and siege warfare in Japan was quite cool, actually. So you did have like rock slinging, fire arrows, cannon bombardment after a certain point, explosives for gates. So there was, and then you had like, there's actually, I think, some in the Fukushima Ryu document where it talks about gate burning and Yagura turret burning, fires. So you've got to mix maths with chemistry to calculate how to destroy a turret. You don't just go up to it and start lobbing stuff at it. You end up, that's just, let's have a go. What you need to do is be like, we need this amount of gunpowder for this size turret. It needs to go this high. We need to be able to throw it or fire it this high. So the maths is very, very important. And that is only a bit of shinobi maths. Getting to that, you've got monomi maths, which is scouting maths. And that's where, as I say, Andrew Thorburn is working out areas. How many people fit in this area, in this floodplain? Can I get 1,000 people here? So people often forget mathematics in ninjutsu. I got a lot of people like, oh, ninja this, ninja that. And you're like, not one of them is sat there studying the height of a tree. Again, I am terrible at it, but once lockdown is over, Thorburn's going to come down. I'm going to do a weekend course on measurement and distance, and measuring of march time measuring, and nighttime measuring by the moon, measuring by the stars. Basically, there's, in the world of ninjutsu, there's this big gap where everybody leaps across maths and forgets it. And in ninja training, in your dojos, you should, and samurai training, so all these Koryu guys as well, should be sat there doing mental mathematics in their mind to work out as part of their samurai training. But that's lost from most Koryus. People say, oh, Koryu, keep this. Actually, they've lost loads of stuff, and Nato-Ryu is the one that's brought that back, if you like, to highlight the fact that you need all that. So there you go, guys. Enjoy. Do get yourself a copy of In Search of the Ninja, and let's get everyone trying to have a go at maths, because it boggles my mind.